Thank you.
Yes, thank you much.
It wasn't 100% that we were gonna be.
Good to see ya. Careful, man. Senioritis takes.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Thanks, guys. Okay, awesome.
Well, we have a minute warning, so 1 minute.
I think it was a 1 minute warning, he said.
Oh. Sports are usually.
And 20.
Mr. Church. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, sounds good to me, I guess.
I brought lots of candy.
I know I had some.
If anybody needs candy,
Trying to keep us all sweet.
over here. No.
Chocolate. And
Peanut butter.
right-sided Kit Kats, no lefts, just rights.
Okay, Madam Clerk, are you ready to roll?
I am, yep.
Okay. The time now is 7:01. I'd like to call to order the City of North Pole's regular meeting for May the 20th, 2024, and our City Hall chamber also being broadcast on our YouTube channel. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Jacobson is absent. Mr. Church?
Present.
Mr. Skips?
Here.
Ms. Clack? We might need to get Ms. Clack back on.
Let's
I will
continue.
digitally. Mr. Keller?
Here.
And Mayor Welch.
I'm here. Madam Clerk will lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, then I'll ask Mr. Councilman Church, would he lead the invocation?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, thank you for bringing us together as a working group tonight. Thank you for all of the inspirations you have given us this evening and will give us this evening to help the city and our citizens be better at what we do. Let your holy name prevail. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Go to an action item on our number 4 on our list, the approval of the agenda. May I ask for motion?
I'd like to move to approve the agenda.
Second.
And because I can barely see you on my smaller screen here, I think that was Church and seconded by
Keller.
Keller, okay? Do you have any amendments to the motion?
Move to amend the agenda.
State your amendment.
We need to consent unfinished business A, ordinance 2024-05, ordinance of City North Pole amending the 2024 Police Department budget, as well as under new business item B, acceptance of sole source bid and contract from DHS and EM with the amount of $122,620.
Second, Skips.
Okay, it's been amended and seconded. Discussion.
I'm going to just take a pause. Ms. Clack is asking me to resend her the link, so pause for roll call.
Let's take a 1 minute pause so you can get her reestablished. Maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes should be enough.
Sending it.
Is Miss Clack on video, Madam Clerk?
She sent me a text asking me to resend her the link. I've just resent her the link.
Is she going to appear on video? Is what I'm asking.
Okay, on the motion to, she's not here for this voting, but on the motion to approve the agenda as amended, Mr. Church,
Yes.
Ms. Clack is not here. Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson is absent, Mr. Skips,
Yes.
and Mayor Welch.
Yes.
And then on the agenda for the evening, Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller, and Mayor Welch.
Yes. We
Sent.
do have an agenda. Thank you. Go to item number 5, an action item, the approval of the minutes from the April, I don't know what April, should say, the May 6th meeting, shouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, you are correct.
Should say for the May 6th meeting. Mine says April 15th. May 6th meeting. May I get a motion for the minutes?
Did anybody have anything to edit in the minutes or change?
Other than if I may, Mayor, sorry, through the chair.
Go ahead.
I would like to amend the approval of the minutes from April 15th, just as a quick correction of the approval of agenda by Mr. Jacobson on page 1. It has the date of May 20th, 2024, just as a correction item, if we could get that date changed.
Okay, because the actual
Yeah, I can
minutes,
totally clear. Yeah, Claire.
yes, a clerical error. We can do that. Why am I seeing a memo up, Madam Clerk, instead of the council?
I'll tell you what, I miss Maggie. Two extra sets of hands.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm just seeing.
We have Chandra Clack now logged on.
And can you hear me still?
I can. Can everybody else hear the mayor?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. I'd like to go ahead and move to approve the minutes as edited from April 15th, 2024.
Second, Skips.
And was there anybody that wanted to debate?
Madam Clerk, that's out of order. It's not April 15th minutes. They're May 6th minutes, aren't they?
So that was another clerical error in the agenda, so that was for May 6th meeting.
May sixth meeting.
Yep.
We're
So you have to restate it for the record.
I thought.
restate it for the record, please.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes from the May 6th meeting.
Oh, Thank you, Larry. Seconded by Mr. Skips. Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Ms. Clack, Ms. Clack, can you hear us? We're waiting on roll call for minute approval. If you can hear us. Your mute is on.
Let's show her mute is on too.
Yes.
Thank you, Chandra. Mr. Williams
Yes.
and Mayor Welch.
Yes, welcome aboard, Chandra. I'm glad you're on.
Yeah.
So now, congratulations, the minutes are approved. We'll go to communications from the mayor, item 6. Do we have proclamation for the student of the month? Is Jasmine Flyak with us?
Is Jasmine here? I have some students, but I don't have Jasmine.
Madam Clerk, would you do me a favor? Would you please read the proclamation in her absence, and we'll then present that to her?
This is a proclamation of the office of the mayor of the city of North Pole. Jasmine Flyak is a senior at North Pole High School and the daughter of Charlene and Paul Flyak. Jasmine has been active in solo 8 ensemble, poetry slam, and flag football. Whereas Jasmine is a distinguished poetry slam champion, and whereas Jasmine is the top 10% of her academic class, and whereas Jasmine is a UA scholar that has taken the Nanook Pledge, and now therefore I, Mayor Welch, as the North Pole City Mayor, do hereby proclaim Jasmine Flyak the North Pole City Council High School Student of the Month for May 2024.
Congratulations, Jasmine, and we'll present this to her with her medallion. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for helping. Do we have with us from North Pole High School the presidential tree ornament group from Rebecca Missler's office?
And any one of you are welcome to come on up, and more than one of you, if you want to take pictures while she's speaking, you're welcome to.
Madam Clerk, for some reason, I'm just not seeing the chambers. I don't know why. Now here's the
Get
chambers.
some great
Now-
pictures. This is super
now-
important.
Can you see now, Mayor?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daisy Massey. I am here on behalf of North Pole High School. I'm a senior and I am in T3, which is teaching through technologies. We learn how to use laser cutters, 3D printers, and we learn how to do computer programming. We go on events. We go to events all over Alaska. This year, I presented in front of the Seismological Society for convention for a project I was doing for T3. This year, Wrangell is asking to make for people all over Alaska to make 10,000 ornaments. So we wanted to use your logo for one of the ornaments that we were making. We were just asking to make sure it was okay that we use it.
And it's not an actionable item. She's just, she did her due diligence and she's asking permission just to make sure that the city's on board with the
City-
congressional tree.
City's on board with that because I'm sure it's not something you're using for a profit motive because it is a trademark item. But myself, knowing that trademark, it would be within the bounds of that. I would have no problem. And I hope the council would back me on that.
I see no objection from the council.
congratulations for coming in and having the courage to ask for it and make the best use of it.
Daisy,
a
thank you very
wonderful
much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for this. This is really very super cool to see this happening.
Gonna get my sign later, is that okay?
And it's really common when people, after they're done speaking to their item, you're more than welcome to leave. You're also more than welcome to stay.
But sign these before you go.
I wasn't.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Thank you for coming in. Really, thank you for that.
Sorry that it's very hard to see the activity there on such a small screen. But, so I'll continue on with communications from the mayor. As you know, I'm coming to you on the Zoom here. I'm down at the Governor's Alaska Sustainability Conference. I flew out this morning and actually we departed. It was rare. We departed the airport ahead of schedule and we flew faster and we got here 25 minutes ahead of schedule. That was okay because I had plenty to do here. I've been at conference with our Brent Sheets and Randy Hobbs and others on this group, and we'll be very, very busy every day this week, except flying home on Saturday. I would like to say that I had a great weekend. Those of us who participated on Friday in the National Police Memorial, that it's a week of that. It's gone since President Kennedy in 1962. It was held out at our Fallen Heroes Park on this past Friday, May the 17th, started at 11 o'clock. I think the person that I was most interested in listening to was Lieutenant Paul from Sitka. He's retired lieutenant on Alaska State Troopers. And I think I'll leave that for Chief Dutra when he gives his report to tell you what his relevance to Lieutenant Hall was. On Saturday, I had the Over the Coffee Cup, first thing out of the box in the morning. Then I was over at the Law Enforcement Torch Run, and we had 72 participants, I do believe. And Chief Dutra will probably give you an update on how much money they funded for Special Olympics, because there was a $2,000 goal. And I had my own little private side bet that his daughter Desi would beat him, but I don't think she beat him by that much. I think according to him, she came in 31st-ish and he came in 32nd-ish or something like that. But boy, he was doing better than he was last year. I did not do my personal best. I was 6 minutes, 5 seconds slower than last year. But it was a beautiful day to do it, and everybody had high spirits. Very, very well conducted. And of course, those who went to the Cruising with Santa over at our plaza, well, there's another record deal of people coming out for that. So that really set our city apart. It's really good to see us coming together as a city, putting on a special event like that. And so with that, I'll say closing the communication from the mayor and going to item 7, any members' questions of the mayor? Are there any questions, Madam Clerk?
I have no questions, none from the audience.
Let's go to citizens' comments. Are there any citizens wishing to comment?
I do have a citizen that will be happy to come up and speak.
Thank you. Please introduce that.
All right, well, good evening, Mayor Welch, council members, Madam Clerk. I'm Scott McCrae, President and CEO of Explore Fairbanks. Here, wanted to give you an update on what's been happening within the regional visitor industry since I last spoke before you back in January. So as you can tell by what Mother Nature is blessing with outside, that midnight sun season, as we refer to it, is well underway. We have been seeing the first trickle of our summertime visitors. The Cross Gulf of Alaska cruise land tours have started up. Those are the passengers who come to Alaska by way of the Cross Gulf of Alaska cruise ships that go to City or Seward or Whittier, and then make a land tour up here to Fairbanks. And how we benefit from that package is if they're doing the land tour first, they're flying into Fairbanks and starting their trip, or in reverse, they're going to fly out of Fairbanks. And more often than not, those visitors spend a good 2 or 3 more days within the area to try to see more above and beyond what they see within the cruise package. So it always is a trickle before Memorial Day. I'm always asked, what is my prediction for the forthcoming season? And I've learned that the crystal ball to predict tourism numbers is a murky one at best. So I will not speculate on any numbers. I will say, though, that if it does follow the trend of what we've seen the last 2 or 3 summers, is that August has turned out to be our peak month of the year, specifically towards the later half of August, because that's when we start our aurora season. So people can have that luxury of a summertime vacation in Alaska while hopefully seeing the northern lights at night. We do have our summer air service underway. So United Airlines started up on May 3rd with its daily service from Chicago. We have a new service. Well, it's not new, it's returning because we had them a number of years ago. United is going to be doing daily service from Denver to Fairbanks. That starts on May 23rd. June 7th is when Delta resumes its daily Minneapolis to Fairbanks service. Alaska Airlines will have 6 daily flights from Seattle to Fairbanks, and Delta Airlines will have 2 daily flights from Seattle to Fairbanks. On the sad news, as it pertains to air service, Condor Air, which for 21 years was providing that service from Frankfurt to Fairbanks, they're not coming back this summer. They didn't perform to the level they would like to have the last year. We continue to have a very strong presence within the German-speaking Europe market. Are confident we can eventually bring it back. You know, the good news is those visitors from Germany are still finding their way here. So there's still the Condor flights that go in directly to Anchorage. And kind of the way the travel pattern of a lot of visitors from that area is their fly drives. So they want to fly in somewhere, rent a car, rent an RV, and see the state that way. So we'll still see those visitors. We just won't see those Condor flights landing at the airport. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is not summer. I wanted to give you a recap of our winter season that we just concluded. And by the standards that we measure, the data that we track, we think we had a record winter season. We most definitely had a record month of March. So just to give you some of the numbers so we tracked at the Fairbanks International Airport arrivals and departures of passengers. And for the month of March, there were 97,202 combined arrivals and departures at the Fairbanks International Airport. That's 25% over March 2023 and 10% over March of 2019, which was our previous record month. And to kind of put that in context, looking back at 2023, if we look at those numbers, that would have been higher than the month of May. It would have been higher than the month of September. It would have been about 7,000 passengers shy of the month of June. So all in all, what we're seeing is I think we have now reached a point, because, promoting interior Alaska as a year-round destination is something that we've been trying to wave the flag on for 20 plus years now. I think we're seeing that play off in terms of numbers, and that the winter visitation is now surpassing summertime visitation. The Alaska Railroad, they had their best winter season ever for the month of March with they call it their Aurora Winter Train that runs from Anchorage to Fairbanks. It's Aurora by name only because no one has seen the Northern Lights from the Alaska Railroad, unfortunately. But for the month of March, they had 4,700 passengers, which was 38% over March of 2023. And 17% over pre-pandemic levels. And the railroad said that, to put that in context, the month of March surpassed the entire winter season going back to 2012. So Alaska Railroad has been doing quite well too. We've had local, anecdotally, I like to quantify as much as I can, but there's been some good testimony from some of our partners. A lodge owner who's been in business since 1992, catering to Aurora tourism. His best year ever was this last year. We've had gift shop owners in downtown Fairbanks who said that winter sales are now surpassing summer, and that there were times during the month of March where there were lines of people out the door. So we're feeling pretty good about the winter season. We're kind of joking, back in the day, we used to call the winter being the opportunity season. And now we're thinking, well, maybe summer's our opportunity season. Let's see how we can grow those numbers here within the summertime. And this is just going to grow. The forecast, talking to our partners, they're taking bookings now in 2025, even 2026. And it is all about the Northern Lights. And one of the things we're kind of benefiting from right now is I think the interest and demand in the Northern Lights is kind of an all-time high. because we're at the peak of that 11-year solar cycle, and that's when the aurora activity is the strongest. So lots of people are looking to establish Northern Lights destinations. We're going to take them here in 24, 25, but we try to remind, travel agents and tour operators who are trying to get trips now. It's like, well, that solar cycle doesn't really impact Fairbanks too much or interior Alaska because of our location on the aurora oval. So no matter where we are in the solar cycle, we're going to have a pretty good Northern Lights show. And of course, a couple of weekends ago, you saw when that KP index hit an 8 and the Northern Lights was exploding all across the country, all across the world. And there was a bit of irony there that one of the best places to see the Northern Lights, you couldn't see them because it was too light out. So again, looking ahead, I think winter is going to be where we're going to continue to see that growth. What we're trying to do is, because it's always concentrated in that February, March timeframe, that's the peak of our winter season. We're hoping to try to spread that out a little more, hit those months of, October going into the winter season, January, and even the month of April to try to grow the numbers in those areas too. So it isn't so concentrated on one time of year. But that's the main update. Looking across the industry as Denali's opening up, a big challenge over the past many years has been the workforce development side. It seems like that businesses are doing a lot better now when it comes to the labor shortage that, plagued us, for quite a while after the pandemic. So that's looking exciting. And then the final one too is the return of international markets. I mentioned the Condor flights, German-speaking Europe. I just attended one of the largest international travel trade shows a couple of weeks ago in LA, where you have international tour operators coming to the US to meet with US suppliers. What was exciting to see is the return of the Asian market. So Japan and China for many years, that was a big part of our winter aurora marketing. Not so much happening the last few years. It looks like there's good promising signs that that market's going to return. So it'll be great to see them add into the healthy winter mix we're seeing with the domestic visitors as well. So I think that covers it. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yes, Scott. I'm talking to you from Anchorage, so I hope you can see me okay. What's it like looking into the sun there, huh? We do our best to try to obscure that with the blinds. But in your best estimate, we have an economic development authority that we're reestablishing, and they're trying to come up with ideas. What kind of businesses do you think that we might be missing out on that would bring more of that winter market to us? Just out of curiosity.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, I'd say, in all honesty, when it comes to winter product, I mean, when we look at our membership and we look at the businesses that have started up over the last 10 years or so, pertaining to tourism, the biggest growth has been within the winter businesses. It's the dog mushers, which I think dog mushing tour operators is probably one of our biggest membership categories. Aurora tour operators, here, of course, within North Pole with Chena Lakes, you've got Alaska Fishing and Raft Adventure, Rod's Alaska Guide Service, who's out here. I think we're doing pretty well in the winter product. What we could use more of, believe it or not, is summertime products, especially summertime products that relates to the midnight sun. We boast about our 24 hours of daylight here, and we're that period now. We're at 70 days of daylight before we see dark skies again, but a lot of times after 9 p.m., things are shut down. So it would be nice to see more product taking advantage of the fact that there is 24 hours of daylight in some manner.
Yeah, that May 17th to July 27th, it really never gets dark. We always have civil twilight at least. A lot of people don't know that, so I throw that out there. So questions for Mr. Scott McCray, because this is great news, Scott. Questions for Mr. McCray?
Thank you for coming out, Scott.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, thank you all for your service. Appreciate it.
I'll stay in touch, Scott. Thank you. Anyone else, Madam Clerk?
I have nobody online and nobody waiting for public testimony.
Citizens' comments are now declared closed at 7:27. Going on to communications from department heads. Danny, would you like to go first, please?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll cover special topics, and then I'll talk about our three departments. Last year, we applied for assistance with PFAS contamination at the fire station and for general PFAS mitigation. As you know, PFAS certainly is a big issue of concern in the area. And last week, we were notified by Alaska's State Revolving Fund that our application for assistance for PFAS mitigation was received, and we could potentially have up to $150,000 available in PFAS funding. The list of projects to include our own identified by the State Revolving Fund is called the Intended Use Plan. And after a 30-day comment period, we potentially would be able to apply for those funds. So I'll provide additional details on this funding, but I did want to just communicate to the council that we were on the list for potential funding for PFAS. This is not something that we would have to pay back. Technically, it is a forgivable loan, and we did have some stuff went before the voters last fall about that, but this is very good news. And hopefully at the June 20th council meeting, after they've had that time for public comment, I'll be able to bring back to the council for both information and decision about that funding. But it does help us at least start a path towards getting after the PFAS issue in the area. For Public Works, no significant changes during our last meeting, but I'll still talk about a few things. We're still onboarding summer hires. We've got two more we've got two in place and two more that are coming. The one will arrive in late May and the second one in early June. Our two individuals from Public Works that are currently in commercial driver's license training are doing very well. That training ends at the end of the month. And you'll see that the candy cane repainting project is almost complete, and the final 3 poles were painted today around City Hall. And also concerning City Hall, we acknowledge that parking remains a challenge at City Hall with competing lines. We did not anticipate that the ceiling last summer would peel up over this winter. And this year we've contracted out the ceiling slated for the work to be done in June and on a weekend, and the restriping is also contracted out. It should be fixed by the end of June in time for the election season. We're also working with staff and the police department on the parking configuration, how we're going to stripe the parking lot, and I think we're going to have a workable solution very soon. For building, we continue to see individual home permits throughout the city as expected at this time of year. Our biggest project remains Three Bears, as we've been talking about, and they should begin pouring concrete in the next couple of weeks. And actually, right before this meeting, I did make a call to the site foreman. We'll have some inspections tomorrow, and if everything goes well tomorrow, they'll be cleared to pour concrete as early as later this week. This is the biggest project we've seen in quite a few years, a $20 million total estimated value, which will include a main Three Bears store, Ace Hardware, a fuel depot, an RV dump site, and cold and warm storage. We continue to use both NSE Alaska and Stantec as our city inspectors on this project. For utilities, we continue to move forward with utilities projects. These include the Three Bears site, the Milepost 351 project, which includes moving a city water main line, work on the effluent outflow from the wastewater treatment plant, a utility standards update, and a city water main planning and design project. Additionally, we do have one employee from utilities that's also in CDL training, and he is also doing well. So we've got 3 individuals from city services that by the end of the month will have their CDL licenses. Of note, last Friday, the Utilities Department, myself, and representatives from Respect did a site survey of the water main locations throughout the downtown area, and this was to support the water main design and planning project. This provided an opportunity for discussions of the locations of the individual mains and the direct exposure for the Respect engineers to the overall environment in the city core. Finally, many of you have seen the mural work at the old water treatment facility, which is across from Santa Senior Center. The middle school art club almost finished work on it, and but despite their best efforts, a little snow and rain actually ended some of their work a little bit early on a few days, and the end of school certainly affected their progress. Their advisor, Ms. Velez, mentioned that she would finish it in the next few days, finish the mural in the next few days, and I still am very confident this will be something that both the city and the school will be very proud of. And right now, I'd be happy to answer any questions on city services from council members.
Danny, I have a question real quick. I know that the Arbor Committee from the borough was trying to get in touch with us. Did we or did we not get a tree off the top of the Polaris building? Do you know?
To my knowledge, we did not.
Okay. I know the school did, one of the schools did, but I'm not sure the city did. So we may have to trace back to Miss Music if we want. So I'll leave that to you, sir. And I'll ask any questions that the council has now for Mr. Danny Wells?
Looks like there's two council people holding their hands up.
Madam Clerk, I'll let you tell me because I can't see them. I can see Danny, but I can't see them unless you change the
Skips
screen.
and Church both have their hands up.
Okay. Who had their hand up first? Go ahead.
Okay, this skips. The light pole that the state hit. What's the status on that?
That's certainly a good news story. The state paid for the light pole to be repaired, and it is back in place. If
Okay.
you go there, it is back in place. I think actually today they were putting on the bottom shroud of that. That was one piece that was missing, but that has been fixed. One of the things we have to pay attention to is make sure that all the lights work, the electricity works and everything else. And we're going through that process. The light pole painting project is not completely done because that testing is the last part of their process aside from the painting. But the state made good on everything and we're clear. We feel we're clear with the state on that one.
And then my last question is that that break right there on Fennell behind the Hotel North Pole,
Yes.
when were they gonna pave that?
That's going to be integrated into the paving throughout the entire city for
Okay.
asphalt. So if you drive around the city and you see orange paint on the roads, that's part of that bigger paving project, and we'll probably do everything at once. If there are complaints, if it becomes unsafe, it becomes too potted, then we'll look at maybe accelerating that. But that's Cody and Paul's
Yeah.
plan right now. And that's what there was actually last summer, we had another break along for now. And that was the plan is to integrate that into the overall paving thing that one of the local construction folks does for us.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Church, are you next, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you. The parking lot, you sent out an email with a whole bunch of different plans for paving of the parking lot and setting that up. I did notice in one of those plans you had an EV charging station. What are the plans with that? I was a little confused and blown away by that, especially since that was on the slough side, which would mean we'd have to run power and trench over to put in electric vehicle stations. Do we have something in the works to buy EV vehicles for the police department or?
I would
something?
defer on EV for the police department, but FAST, the Fairbanks Area Surface Transportation Program, they have an overall EV plan for all of Fairbanks North Star Borough. It does include sites in North Pole at the library. There are some slots potentially that would come here. That you saw was sort of a concept sketch, but right now there's no firm plans and they have not said, hey, you're putting EV. But as part of that overall project, we did request some EV support to the city of North Pole. I don't think we have any plans for vehicles, but a charging station here at the city is something that we definitely would like to look at. So we're part of that request to FAST, but that hasn't been fully implemented or approved. And that going into our spaces certainly would come before the council too. But that's why you saw that on there. If we had to put EV places here, we would probably put those as far away from the parking, everybody else's parking as possible. And that may not be the exact right EV charging station if we were offered that.
Okay, and then who would pay for the electric of that? I mean, we're already having issues with heat, water, power throughout the city. The electric bill for that, is that something then that the borough would subsidize?
The way they've been working, and those of you that I've actually driven an EV vehicle in Juneau just to see how it went, and it wasn't, it was a little bit of an adventure because it's different. In Juneau, when we were there, citizens didn't have to pay for the power. Here, it would be a pay-as-you-go. If you're using the station, you pay for the electricity. What potentially would happen is that the infrastructure would be put in by the borough. It would be maintained by the borough. The actual station would be maintained by a civilian corporation that does EVs throughout. The ones that you see at GVEA, that same company would potentially put those other systems throughout the borough. again, just like we fill up with gas, the consumer would be the one that would have to pay for that. So really, the city would be donating potentially some infrastructure as far as location, but as far as upkeep, infrastructure installation, things like that, we don't see ourselves as participating as something that we'd have to pay for. So
I mean, parking is sort of at a premium out there. I'd hate to give up a space for an EV charger when nobody at the city as of yet drives a EV vehicle. You know, I could see if maybe utilities had an EV vehicle and that was part of their plan, having a charger at City Hall. But without that, it seems like it might be better suited on the other side of the building, maybe right out front here.
certainly, yeah,
but-
and this would be mostly for visitors again.
Okay.
So that would be the idea, and you're going to see some of these stations pop if FAST is able to get this funded, you're going to see them pop up throughout the borough. In North Pole, we didn't want to be left out. We do think that Three Bears is going to have an EV station. There may or may not be one at Safeway, but also the library was chosen as a borough location around here. So we wanted to be part of that set.
That makes
So-
perfect sense. And then one other question. I'm sorry, Benny.
That's okay.
I got asked by a citizen about the generator at the utilities building, or the public works building right over here off of Lewis. If we sent out the generator estimate for bid at $40,000 with that grant, did that generator go out for grant and for bid so that companies could bid on that? Or was that something that was just chosen?
We contacted several companies. We had 3 folks that came back with bids, and we chose the one that had, and I could, actually, it's probably in your packet, the 3 companies that bid on it, but we did choose the one that could get it here the quickest, because some of the bids were, they could get a generator here, but it wouldn't be till the end of the summer, that had experience working again in this area. So we did go through a bid process, but the way it worked is we solicited for 3 bids. We contacted companies. We did not go through the formal bidding process. Again, I think that the value didn't dictate that we had to go through a formal bidding process, because just based on city code, we must do it if it's over a certain amount of money. But at that level, we weren't required to, but we did seek 3 bids.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I think it's 49.
go ahead.
Yeah.
So, Danny, you just said that you did send out for bids, but then there weren't any bids.
We solicited bids. We got 3 solid bids that were workable, and that was a requirement for the grant.
Okay.
So we did that, but we did not, but we didn't go through some of the bidding process that you saw for our higher price projects. So for example, the city water main replacement, the design replacement, which is over $600,000, we sent that out through a formal bidding process.
Okay. All right.
So,
Well, that's definitely something that we need to look at for in the future.
I'm just looking at a skid steer that we sent out for bidding versus, I mean, less than double that, but in numbers wise, fairly close to that we didn't do a formal bidding process on. Where we
well, the
could have
skid
maybe-
steer was $80,000 and this one was less than that, but certainly we can look at that, and we would certainly prefer to get stuff out as much as possible. Just under these circumstances, we contacted 3 vendors and we said, what are your prices? And these were folks that came back with prices. We put that within the grant packet. So.
I have 2 more questions, Mayor. One is Chandra has a question and Benny has a question.
Chandra, go ahead, please.
My question is in regards to, you stated that you had went out with Santec to look at the water. I mean, what was part of their conversation that they saw?
You went to the different sites.
Right, when you went to the different sites.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What Stantec asked us to do is they asked to walk around the city, again, the city core, and look at where the water main linkages were at, where the actual pipes were in relation to the road, what the standoff distance was, just to get a better idea for their engineers. Again, they have an office here in Fairbanks, but they also have folks that work on this from other places around the country. They actually had one of their lead project manager that came from the lower 48 that came up, but it was just, again, it was a sort of a city tour of, so if we replace the water main, what areas would need attention, how far were those areas in general away from buildings, how far did the water line, how far it was from the road, where were the fire hydrants in relation to it, how would they have to design the system? So it was sort of a practical exercise part of this planning and design process. So they should be on target to have an interim product at the end of July, and then by the end of December, they should be finished with their planning and design. And the trajectory for that is to put that into the bidding process for the Defense Community Infrastructure Program, which we are currently putting the fire station in for that. So that's the direction that this is going, and this is just another step in that process.
Onto that real quick, Mayor.
Yes, who's adding on real quick there?
This is Turch.
Thank you.
In relation to that, do we not have a GPS plan of everything that's underground that also overlays with the railroad or with the, not the railroad, the road system that we have, so that Stantec should already have that with everything that they do for the city?
We would hope, and it actually, on that part of it, it's Respect. And if I said the word Stantec, but Respect is doing the planning and design for the water main.
Okay.
So we don't have GIS points for all of where all the water mains are at. And so that is something that they verify. When Paul and his folks go out, they are able to mark the water lines, and they have the as-built for all of the systems. But you'll find, especially without marking each line, you'll find some it's a few inches to a few feet, things will be off. So they're trying to get the ground truth and to validate the ground truth, because like I said, for their planning purposes, if they have to cut into a road, if they had to burrow under a road, if they have to burrow under the railroad, they want to be exactly correct on stuff. They've had to go back to some of the plans from the 70s and even before that, especially on the railroad side, because the water line crosses a railroad. There are some things that it may show it on paper, but unless you physically verify it, they don't have it. But we don't have an ArcGIS section, and that's actually something I've talked to them about. Is it would be great to be able to click on something and have those overlays. And if you as a citizen said, "Hey, this is where I'm building a house. Do I have water in my yard, and where is it, and how can I hook up to it?" We can click a button and find that out. Right now, we have to go through PDF as built and determine where the water main is to do that. So we are not as digital as we would like to be. So this will be a step in the right direction.
Benny, did you have a question?
I got two questions. For those EVs, how are we gonna pay for those? I meant when the customer goes in, it's gonna be for credit card, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
When I've used it personally, it was free, but
Yeah.
I think that's you swipe your credit card, you get so much time or you get so much electricity for your vehicle, and then that's it. But it is a system that's
Okay.
fairly well used. It's not anything that's unique, I don't think.
And the second question is on the grant for the PFAS. Did they give us that in writing, what we actually gonna get? Have we got that yet?
If you go to the State Revolving Fund website, it's
Mhm.
got the intended use plan, and it will say City of North Pole, PFAS mitigation, fire station, and then it'll say $150,000 on
Okay,
there.
it's in writing.
So
though,
it's
for us,
it's
right?
in writing, but again, the process is, and I hate with the grants, I hate to oversell them because it is a long process, but they have a 30-day grant, citizen comment period, which ends in mid-June. And then after that, they actually they will tell us, "Hey, you're cleared to go ahead and apply for it. We'll put in our paperwork." We applied for it last year, but this will be the finalization. It'll come before the council, it'll come before the leadership here for signing. But like I said, it seems to be on the right track for that.
It's pending.
I'm sorry?
It's pending.
Pending, yes.
Okay, all right. That's it for me, guys. Mayor.
Mayor, it
Thank you.
doesn't look like,
Yeah, I'm saying thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. And I now ask Chief Dutra to come up. Hello, Chief.
Mayor. So there's big news. I put it on the the podium that we found out today that Lieutenant Smith got accepted to the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, which is truly an honor to be able to go to that go there and get some leadership training, to be accepted into the FBI leadership course is pretty amazing. So it is the gold standard that most cities and departments use as the crowning achievement for police chiefs or soon to be police chiefs or second in command leadership type thing. I'm pretty proud of him. It's been a while. He's been on the list since he became a lieutenant, and he got approved today. So hopefully this fall he'll go, and that's pretty neat. So he's only the second person that I know of that's ever been accepted from North Pole PD. The last person was Lonnie Hatman, former chief. So I didn't go because I had little kids. Just saying. So I just not to go. Yeah. And anyway, so congratulations to him, and we'll look forward to him going to that. And that is a 3.5 month ordeal, so he will be gone for some time. But it'll be good stuff. The torch run was an absolute success. Both the mayor and I finished the race upright, not on a gurney. That was pretty cool. I would like to say, NPPD is an amazing department. I'm not just because I'm the chief, but we had 8 out of 13 officers run that race. That's a pretty amazing showing. And 2 of them were out bear hunting, and the other one was working the streets. So that tells you we had pretty much almost a full department run on that. I was pretty impressed. We did raise beat our goal of $2,000. I don't know what we came in at, $2,200 last I checked, but it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty big event, and I thank APOA for sponsoring that. And they did their barbecue and did a bunch of other stuff, bought some food. And anyway, I thank everybody for the support for the Special Olympics, the torch run in general. I think I heard that the Tanana Valley Special Olympics hit their goal, achieved their goal, and I think, did you not donate significant to the torch run? Or yeah, I thought so. One of our council members did. So I don't know if he was doing that anonymously. So sorry. Anyway, thank you for everyone who supported that. It's a great endeavor, and I'm proud of everybody who came out for that. Police Memorial Day again was an amazing event as well. I always am picky. There's always a few things we could fix and do better. And it was interesting, as the mayor mentioned, the guest speaker was my academy commander from 27 years ago. So it was pretty nice to have him there to talk. It went off without pretty much a hit. I do want to make a shout out to the public works department, the fire department. Not only is it a huge lift for our department to make that ceremony happen because of all the logistics involved, but without the public works and fire department there to help us clean it up, get it spruced up, trimming and cleaning and all that. On top of cleanup day, they go in there and make sure all the grass is mowed and do all the other stuff that we may miss. So I really appreciate Public Works Cody and his crew. Did a great job. My fire department was out there, cleaning up the facility the day before. So, and of course they always have folks there to help. So great weekend. Lots going on. So coins. So I want to talk about our coins. We have these coins that we made, and kind of probably saw on Facebook. If you didn't see it on Facebook, I'll tell you all about it. So we had 1,000 of these little wooden coins made, and these little coins are for the children, for us to hand out to the children. And we're working in cahoots with Santa Claus House this year. Santa Claus House has graciously donated $3,500 worth of ice cream to this cause, and they're joining efforts with us to give these out to kids during the summer for doing good deeds, wearing their helmet, being safe, being courteous, being kind, doing something generous, whatever it might be. Rewarding good citizenship is kind of what we're talking about. So if you see something or and you want to bring it to our attention, please let us know, and we can always get a belayed chip to a kid, even if we didn't put eyes on it. Something maybe you may have noticed this as our ambassadors to the police department. If you notice something, please let us know so we can get a child their token. So it's pretty cool idea. And it was this was an idea that came from Chris, our public safety assistant, another winner. And everybody just loves this idea. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread for us to be doing. So it's a cool deal. We got 1,000 to hand out, so we got our work cut out for us. So on top of that, there's to help with this program, we've got a little brainchild from Lieutenant Smith. I put on one of your handouts, is the breaking the city up into areas for officers' responsibility to get out, do a little more community policing, a little interaction with the police and the community, talk with people, walk the beat, bike the beat, whatever it might be. When there's more than one person on, obviously not just by themselves. Kind of hard to get out of your car and ride a bike when you have calls to go to, but it's just an idea that's been vetted over the years, and so Lieutenant Smith this is his creation. He wanted to kick this off this year and see if hopefully get a little more exposure and give us a chance to get out and maybe hand out some coins to kids. And so keep you posted on how this goes. I so far it seems to be a good community feedback on this so far. So, and we'll keep tell you how it goes. But I'm excited for that. So 2 programs going at the same time. It should be good for the department and the community. Last thing, the Pachino Lakes officer is out of Pachino Lakes now, starting May 1st. He'll be out there 4 days a week, so out there running around. And I do want to mention one last thing. Former utility employee John McBroom was #1 in the run at the torch run. He's in the academy right now and came out of the academy doing emergency vehicle operations to come out and run the torch run, and he actually got first place. So I just want to ring his bell. He did a good job, and the police department did get first. So he had some guy hot on his tail most of the race, but he smoked him at the end. So congratulations to former utility and current North Pole police officer John McBroom. That's all I have. Oh, no, stats. Sorry. I did give you stats for all of last year, close of last year. And of course, we lost Allison. We had transition, so we didn't really get all of these to you generally at the beginning of the year. I will dissect a lot of these. I'm going to go into a lot of this. I got the stats yesterday. Actually, not yesterday. I got them on Friday, I think. I didn't get a chance to really go through these. There are some areas in here that I have concerns about. I can't answer specifics yet. I hadn't had time to dissect them, but I do want to do that during my budget presentation. So do remember that and do call me on that if I don't go into a lot of detail. DUIs, as I expressed before, are a concern, are starting to rise. Whether what that's affiliated to or not, I can't really tell you. We could probably analyze the data and see if there's any specific factors. Maybe that's going to take some time and some personnel to do that. And I do think that might be a public safety assistant job here coming up real soon and build data analysis on our DUIs, which takes time because you got to read each one of them. You got to kind of do a cause and effect and see if it's coming from a particular place or these are just random increases in population and traffic and that kind of thing. You can tell by just reading these reports, but we will get an answer for you. It is overall appears to be a slight uptick in our stats overall. Some larger than others. You see here, the arrests from last year doubled from the year before. So that's significant. And that's something we certainly should do some analytics on. So I will get back to you on that. I do have the April stats for you. Again, still seeing a similar trend. The DUI trend seems to be not quite as high, but not much better. When you start to see DUIs breaking the 50 barrier, that starts concerning me. We did have a DUI traffic officer at one time who did 80 DUI arrests in 1 year. That was a state record. He got an award for that because it's a lot. So you see a small community with 50, small as we are, that's kind of a big deal. That's my metric. But other than that, you have a lot of activity. Officers are out there, doing traffic stops, issuing citations. We're still going a lot of warnings. If you've noticed on Facebook, or if you haven't noticed on Facebook, I please ask you to go look at our page. Lieutenant Smith is doing a great job with doing these monthly updates on our stats. I think it's getting great feedback. People out there that are, grumbling about what we do, look at those numbers and it kind of shuts them down. They can't complain. We are giving a lot more warnings than we are citations. The officers are out there trying to get people to change their ways or fix their cars. It's not the doom and gloom that you heard the testimony from one of our meetings. It's not what's happening. So proof is in the pudding, right? The stats prove otherwise. We're out there, getting people talking to people, getting them to comply. So Interesting stats for sure. I'd like to, I do want to dive into these and give you guys a better analysis. But when you're talking about this many cases, it's going to take a little time to do a deep dive. And I just got these. So I wanted you to have them anyway. So any questions?
Yes,
That's
Chief.
Mayor's question. Sorry.
Yes, Chief. One thing is, I want you to know, I don't know if you realized or not, but I was actually having that Appreciation Day, the National Recognition Day video from above the drone, and it's not ready yet. It's being processed. I'm down here in Anchorage for the people who are processing it. So I think that when it's available, I'm going to make sure you have a copy of that, okay, in digital video for posterity. It really looked great. It was a lot of good information exchange. And for those who haven't been to one of those, when is it that we're going to have the day? Is that July 27th again? This upcoming July 27th?
Fallen Heroes Day is the 27th of July.
Right. So I'll keep that in mind and try to make an effort to come to that. And then I want to ask you to do me a favor and work with Mr. Danny Wallace to get a concerted effort for him to work with fine folks at state DOT to get us a homogenized speed limit on the Wonderful St. Nicholas Drive. So they should be able to work that out for us. I'd like to see us do that so you can get your signs up before Three Bears gets open. Okay. So I'll leave it at that unless you want to comment on that. And now I'll turn over questions to the council.
Does anybody have any questions of Chief Dutra? I'm seeing no questions from the council.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. So let's move to Chief Heineken next. Chief.
Bring my sunglasses. Wow.
I did close the blinds.
Right.
Apparently.
Slide
There you
forward.
go.
There. Just a few quick things to report on tonight from the fire department. The first thing is our SEMT application for the Medicaid reimbursement is due by the state of this month. We did apply for an extension, which we did receive confirmation that we have an extension till July 31st for that, which the more I learn about this, it sounds like that's kind of a routine thing. You know, more than just North Pole, it seems has the same issues where they're waiting on the audit to be able to turn in with the application. So this might turn into a standard procedure for us year after year. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a problem. We've got that extension to July 31st. So we should have stuff from our auditors according to our CFO sometime the end of June, which gives us plenty of time to do that. And then we'll see what this next year brings in for those funds. We're really looking forward to seeing how it trends out and what we could expect more on average year to year. The weekend of May 10th was a very busy weekend. First off, we participated with our partners, the Red Cross, in the Sound the Alarm event. Very successful event. It sounds like they put in, I believe, alarms into 108 homes, I believe is what they were reporting. Quite a few. I mean, mostly focused around the North Pole area, but they were, you know, anywhere within the borough actually. Really, really good numbers to see. Those smoke detectors can literally save lives. So just a big reminder that if you can still get smoke detectors anytime throughout the year, if you contact the fire department or the Red Cross, we'll coordinate. If you do not have a smoke detector, we will get you smoke detectors. It is a big deal in your family's safety. So do not go to bed at night without a working detector. Also, that weekend was cleanup day. We partnered with the North Pole Chamber approached us along with Golden Heart Waste Management. And they partnered to do a hot dog feed for participants in cleanup day. And years ago at the fire department, we did it fairly annually. And we we busted the grill out and had the guys grilling hot dogs that they provided. And they went through a lot of hot dogs between the Red Cross event the day before where we grilled hot dogs and then the cleanup day hot dog grilling. There was a lot of hot dogs and hamburgers consumed at the fire station this last weekend there. But really good event. The weather was good. The streets are looking great. There's a few areas that, got missed that are slowly being picked up. But yeah, happy to see that the community got out and really got that winter's worth of stuff blowing out of trucks picked up and looking good. Time for it to get green and look really good. A big thank you to Police Chief for inviting us to attend the finish line at the torch run. We sent Platform 21 out there to hoist some of the flags. Yeah, really cool. I saw the pictures. I wasn't able to be out there myself, but it looked like a really neat event. And the staff that were out there said, yeah, it was a good time, and it seemed very enjoyable. So it's amazing how much we've done, and summer's just starting. It's been busy with these wonderful events around the town. The last thing I have for today is our open firefighter position. We did that process, and we did make a conditional offer. It went out to Robert Villarreal, who is actually one of our part-time employees. We have a delay between the time that we've offered it to him and that he'll be able to finish the conditions and come to work. He actually was in paramedic school this winter here at the University of Alaska as paramedic. And the day that I offered him the position was the day that he was leaving for Oklahoma to finish his externship. So he'll be down there finishing up his paramedic license on his externship. We're hoping to have him back in town sometime early July. And then he'll have to finish up the conditions of the offer, which are, a firefighter physical and a physical agility test here at the station. And then hopefully sometime in July, we'll get him as a brand new paramedic on board full time. And he's been a great part-time employee. His wife previously worked for us as a firefighter. So they're very, we're very familiar with them and they're very familiar with us. And we couldn't be happier to be picking him up full time. So that's all I have this evening. I can take any questions.
Chief, I have a question. He's on AJ Hamlin's crew. He came out with Platform 21. Is his name Brandon?
It was probably Braden Mazanary.
Yeah, Braid Mazanary. Well, I just want to say kudos. He stood out there as a volunteer, not on his shift, came out there extra to help put the presence of the North Pole Fire Department out there with Platform 21 for everyone to see at the law enforcement torch run. And I enjoyed talking with them before we got started. There were so many people that came to sign up. It couldn't start at 10 o'clock. It started at 10:33 because they had to have everybody registered first. So I had time to talk to Mazanary. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Chief.
Very good to hear.
So say hello, kudos from the mayor.
I do have a question from Council Member Church.
Yes, Harry.
Apprenticeship program. Now that school has ended, I know you had 6 or 7.
Yeah, we had 9 total applicants. We
Wow.
finished that up, and I'm happy to report. I missed last meeting. I did send a written report that had that in there. We have the 3 paid positions filled, and then we have 3 individuals doing it on a voluntary basis, which is going to be adjusted. Basically, they're going to go through the first 9-week academy at minimum and get their firefighter 1 certification out of that first 9 weeks. Tremendous individuals, and I can't believe how competitive this got. I mean, we had. If I could have offered, to do 9 or not 9, the 6 full paid, it'd have been wonderful. But obviously we didn't budget to do that. But very good candidates from top to bottom. We're excited to get them started. They're actually scheduled to come in here in a couple of days, and we'll get them with Maggie here at HR to do in-processing paperwork. Going to get them with our equipment guy to start looking at them for uniforms and equipment at the station. And then July 1, they'll start and we'll put them through there and see how they do. Yeah, we're very excited.
And maybe Chief Dutra, when your officers are out doing their rounds, talking with kids, you can maybe have your officers bring up the importance of smoke detectors along with that, to kind of pair the city's services together and make that happen and make our city a little safer. Because adults, I think, are rarely going to say yes or no to smoke detectors, but educating the kids, they'll nag their parents and make it happen, especially for free ice cream.
Yeah, good point.
Chief, I just wanted to say thank you for coming up with the initiative to not just have the 3 paid, but to advance it to 3 unpaid, like volunteer. Like, did you have that in plan at
No.
the beginning?
No,
So
that
when did you have that like aha moment?
it is we started to get feedback from the schools. It sounded like we were going to get, I was worried when we developed this program that can we fill 3 of these paid positions is what I was worried. And then as we started getting feedback from not just North Pole High School, but the other schools in the area, we actually received an application from a student in Washington. So we did end up, because we opened it up, and yeah, we were looking to support our local schools. So once we realized that we hadn't even started taking applications in yet, but we realized from the feedback that we get applicants. And that's when we started talking that, hey, if we do end up with more than 3 and they're good applicants, we don't want to just turn them away. We want to be able to offer them something. So we had actually called a meeting at the fire station for any applicants that were interested in the program. Before applications came in, we met with numerous students there at the fire station, and we went over this program and advised them at that time that, yeah, there's enough of you that this is what we're going to look at doing. And 3 of you could possibly at least do the first section of this on a voluntary basis. And then at that point, once they graduate with firefighter 1, they're absolutely can stay on our roster as a volunteer, continue in the EMT classes, and continue volunteering at their, their ability and time wise. They might, some individuals might have to get jobs. We realize that. And that's kind of the downfall of going the volunteer route is, some individuals have to support themselves. Others might still be able to be under mom and dad's umbrella and get through the entire year possibly. So yeah, it's good. It was not the intent at first. It absolutely was not. And it still makes me nervous bringing the 2 groups together, whether there'll be some type of hierarchy between the paid and the volunteer, but those first 9 weeks, they're all the same. They are absolutely going through that same academy. They're all expected to be there on time every day doing the work. It doesn't matter whether they're getting a paycheck or whether they're not. They're going to go through the academy like it's an academy. And then yeah, we'll see what we can develop this into. And I'm really hopeful that year after year, we'll continue doing this.
Oh, that's great. If they can see the long view of the education and certifications that they can take, even if they're still volunteer, EMT for a mine, EMT for this, like there's a great amount of opportunity there.
There really is. And the volunteer thing really, once it was finalized and we realized one of the applicants that ended up being on the volunteer side of this, already came to us with advanced EMT certifications. So this individual really just needed that fire side that they're going to get on that first 9 weeks. After 9 weeks, we get him through the certification process. He is going to be able to start applying for career full-time jobs with those 2 certification levels.
That's great. Great. Thank you, Chief. That's great.
Any other questions? Thank you, good chief. I appreciate it.
Chief.
Madam Clerk, do we have anybody from accounting to be with us tonight?
We do not. They are both in training seminars and working on payroll at this late hour in their hotel rooms.
I know you guys will appreciate that we had a system failure before they left to go, and then it failed at my end. And Tyler somehow came to the rescue, but Tricia, even on the road, was prepared to back me up. But we got it done. But they are doing your payroll for you, so it's a lot of work. It's sometimes seamless. You don't know it's there. You know it's there if you didn't get paid, though. So take your hats off to them. Madam Clerk, I think you're next.
Yes, I also want to shout out, thank you, Michelle and Tricia, for making my paycheck. Tricia, let's see, no, Chandra went to the, what was it called? She went to the Sound the Alarm and she brought everybody on the council back stickers. She put those on your dais for you and just asked that I mention that. In the clerk's office, I've been busy getting ready for the municipal election. For any of those council members who may be so inclined to refile or interested in filing, I have all the important municipal election dates here. And other than that, Maggie's been out for graduation, and I can't wait till her vacation's over and she's back in the office working with me. We did have a borough representative, Mayor Welch, if you
Yeah.
wanted.
Yes, I want to let him say, I guess I'll wait till closing comments, what I want to say about that too.
Well, I went
But
to the
go
borough.
ahead,
This is
Benny. Go
yes,
ahead,
sir.
Benny.
This is me, Benny. I went to the borough and I told them the biggest thing that we were really concerned about was 3 bears coming in. And if you look at it, 1 week there wasn't nothing there, and all of a sudden everything's there, and it was looking good. So some individuals said they're going to come down and check it out. I also mentioned in reference about the graduation season was upon us, and the kids are graduating and the families, and everybody was doing their thing. And let me see. And I also opened the door. I said, you know, guys, the doors swing 2 ways. I mean, we come up here and you guys can come to our meetings too. So I made sure that they knew that up here and up front. Also, I got, what was the word? It was one particular individual that had cracked on me in reference about, what was it called? I had no clue what she was talking about, but I kind of weaved my way through. Huh?
Neither did she.
Well, I tell you what, Mayor Ward kind of got me out of it, but she was definitely behind the power curve because we did our thing 2023. And I got the paper, and Emily pulled the paperwork out for me. We did what we were supposed to.
September 5th of 2023.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it September 5th of 2023.
Yes, sir. We did our thing, and I must have got drilled on that. And I said, and I tried to be as nice as I could. I'm saying, Don, what in the world is she talking about? Okay, all right. I played it off. No problem. First thing I did, come back here and talk to our clerk. And email went out to this individual, but I'm gonna kind of, next time I go down, which is next month, I'm gonna kind of let them know about it in a nice way. I promise not to embarrass myself or North Pole, but that was, she had no clue what was going on when she cracked on me. And it was like, "Ow!" I said, okay, I'll be nice.
I just have to brag, you handled the situation 100% with tact in class. So go North Pole.
Okay, that was one for me. It may not happen again. I just want you to know.
I got in at 7 in the morning and I emailed you. So I was mama bearing.
Oh, you know, I go to those and try to be nice, and most of the time is if they talk about what I talk about, then fine. But to go hit me about something that hasn't been talked about, or there's something that we had already done, I had to. She didn't know what she was talking about. I mean, she was all over the place and kind of putting me on the spot. So I said, okay, I'll be nice this time. But that's about all. So, like I said, I'm trying to get my thoughts together when I go down next month and do it in a nice way and make sure this individual understand what was going on and that maybe she was off centered as far as I'm concerned, from what I heard. And outside of that, it went pretty good for me. And they thought they put me in the hot seat, and I said, "Oh, this is the hot seat, huh? Oh, this is what it feels like." And they all bust out laughing.
Thank you, Benny. Any questions for the borough rep?
You guys ought to get down there and start doing some of this too.
I've been in the hot seat, Benny, and I know exactly how that feels.
Okay.
So thank you for handling it well.
Okay, all right.
I've been in the hot seat, but I wasn't kind about it. I can tell you that. So let's move on, Madam Clerk. For the essence of time, I know we've got some people. Do we need to take a bio break? Anyone?
I would love it if we could continue so the Meritain ladies didn't have to remain on the line.
Yeah, well, that's one of my concerns, but if anyone needs one, now's the time to ask for a pause. Otherwise, we'll press on.
It looks like the council is saying they're good to go.
We're good to go. So there's no ongoing projects report. If there was, we would pass it over so that we can go to these two ladies, Angela Baker and Tiffany Stock from Acrisure are here with us tonight. Are they prepared to go ahead now at 8:17?
They are both here and do you guys want to control the screen or what? Do you want me to pull up our screen?
I can share it. I have it up on mine, Emily, if you want me to try.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. Can you guys see that?
I'll tell you that from where I'm sitting at here, the mayor's not going to be able to see it, but I've already read it, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
I can't see it on a small handheld here.
Okay. And Emily, it's coming through on your end though?
Yes, you guys can see this screen.
Yes. Perfect. So these are Angela and I represent Acrisure, and we work with the city of North Pole with the Maritime Health Plan. And so what you're looking at this evening is the decision points, so we can finalize the 2024 renewal that goes into effect on July 1. And Emily, do you want me to just go item by item?
I'm not sure. Do you have Tricia's document also? You can, however you choose to do it. I don't know.
Everything that Tricia had in her email that she sent out is on the decision summary.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. I look at it and it makes more sense when I see it in Tricia's format, but I think they'll understand when you're talking to them. So go ahead.
Okay. So the first sections, items 1 through 6, these are related to the Maritime third-party administrator renewal, the plan provisions, and then some cost containment services. So the first one there is accepting Maritime's administrative renewal at the proposed fees, and there are no change in fees from the last renewal. So the medical and dental administration remains at $58.95 per employee per month. There is no proposed changes to the current medical plan, meaning no deductible, copay, out-of-pocket maximum, things like that. So recommendation there is to maintain the current plan designs and not change any of those provisions. Pharmacy pricing, we are revising the rebate model, and it's an automatic update. So no real changes there, just letting you guys know that there is an estimated savings of about 14% on your prescriptions on the claims costs. Your vision with Maritime, there is no recommendation to make any changes to that plan design and to renew it as is, as the same with the dental. So keeping that plan the same, no proposed changes. And then the flexible spending account administration, keeping that with Maritime for both healthcare and dependent care expenses. No change in the cost there, $4 per employee per month based on participation. And we recommend maintaining all of those items. Are there any questions about those components that are kind of just standard parts of the plan?
I see no questions from the council here.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, Madam Clerk.
All right. The next part is about active programs. So these are things that the City of North Pole currently has included. And just giving some updates here and making sure that you want to keep these programs. So the first is Livongo Diabetes Management. It includes diabetes management as well as weight management programs. Previously, there was a whole person solution and is now called Whole Person Plus. So they're changing the name of that part of the program. And we do recommend that you adopt the new program name. And they are changing the cost to $80 per participant per month, regardless of what their incurring condition is. But there is only a charge to the plan if it's actually used and someone is engaged in the program. The number 8 there is maternity management. Currently, you guys pay 80 cents per employee per month, regardless of whether someone is engaged with maternity management or not. We are recommending that you go to a case rate of $365 per case that is only paid when someone actually engages with the maternity management program. So the program helps manage pregnancies to avoid high cost claims. based on the enrollment in the plan, women age 19 to 44 represent 14.2% of the total enrolled population. And the return on investment for maternity management is usually a savings of 10 to 1. So given your population, we feel like it's a better spend of dollars when someone actively engages rather than paying 80 cents per employee per month, regardless of utilization and regardless of whether there's someone who could access the program or not.
Can I ask a quick question about maternity management?
Yes.
Excuse me, Councilman Church, did you let her finish that? Did jot your question down and ask her when she gets through the program, please? Thank you. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
All right. The next one is pre-admission and post-discharge counseling. We are recommending to adopt this. It's an hourly rate of $130 and only paid if someone is utilizing it. Typically, what they're going to do is they're going to do outreach to see if someone needs any assistance before they do an admission to a hospital, and before they're discharged, they're going to check in with them to make sure they have the right means in place to help make sure that they're well cared for. So it's really meant to have better outcomes when someone's going in and out of a hospital type setting. So we do recommend adopting that program. And then the next three, four, scrolling down a little bit here, have to do with your stop loss. The stop loss insurance renewal. Currently, you guys are with a company called IOA Re, which gives you the $40,000 individual stop loss on a per person basis. You also have an aggregating specific deductible of $15,000 above that aggregating that individual stop loss amount, and then you have a $42,000 laser. So we have three options for you guys to consider in renewing with IOA Re. If we do nothing and keep everything the same, your fixed costs are going up about 6%, which is a little over $17,000 annually. And they're expecting your claims cost to increase by 13%, just based on current ongoing conditions. So you can renew that as is on your 24/12 contract and keep all provisions the same. That is option 10A. 10B, it would renew as is on the same contract terms 24 months prior, looking forward to the next 12 months, the same $40,000 individual stop loss limit, your aggregating specific deductible of $15,000 plus the $42,000 laser. But this program would also add an organ transplant rider. So currently you have a Aetna transplant program. This would replace that with a separate organ transplant rider. There are fixed costs associated with this rider of $6.62 per single employee, and then $17.22 per family per month. But by adopting those fixed cost increases, you do get a 5% reduction in the stop loss premiums. So that is a pass-through cost to the transplant rider company through Meritain, same way that the stop loss premiums work. And when we blend all that together, your fixed costs would actually only be increasing 4% as opposed to the 6% if we renew as is, and your expected and maximum claims costs stay at the 13% increase. So given the kind of cost shifting in there, that is our recommendation. But we do have a third alternate there, 10C. This is also renewing the program with the 24/12 contract, same $40,000 individual stop loss limit, same $15,000 aggregating specific deductible, and the same $42,000 laser. It adds the same organ transplant rider, but it also adds specific language to cover weight loss associated prescriptions. And the single per employee fixed cost of $662 stays the same. The $17.22 per family stays the same. You'll still get that same 5% discount on your stop loss premiums. The fixed costs go up about 4%, just like they do on the previous version, but your maximum claims cost would increase to 29% instead of the 13% expectation. And so really the differentiator between 10B and 10C is the additional coverage for weight loss drugs. Next is your Colonial Life worksite benefits. Those were recommended to be accepted. Employees pay for those out of their own pockets through paycheck deductions. The city does not cover the cost for that. And then the last decision point here is on employee payroll deductions. So currently, you have 26 payroll deductions for employees and family members that participate in the program. Historical increases, the 2022 decision to increase employees by $10 single and $20 for families. In 2023, a decision was made to have a 2% increase to deductions, making the new deductions $33.74 per employee and $112.20 for families. An increase of $17.16 for employees and $57.20 per family. And that was what the annual total was. So 12A is maintaining the two-tier current structure for single employees and families, and the current deductions at $33.74 and $112.20. 12B adopts a four-tier contribution structure. There's no change to current deductions, but it would create a deduction tier for employee and spouse and employee and children. 12C is also a four-tier structure, also with a 9% increase to the employee and family deductions, creating additional tiers with the same contribution percent based on actuarial COBRA rates. So there's an illustration here showing an increase of $78.95 for an employee and $262.55 for a family annually. 12D is also a proposed four-tier structure, increasing rates by 20% for employee and family deductions and creating those intermediate tiers for employee spouse and employee children. That would be an increase of $175.45 for employees and $583.44 for family enrollees on an annual basis. And then 12E is also a proposed four-tier structure with a 25% increase to the employee and family deductions, which would result in an increase of $219.31 per employee or $729.30 for families on an annual basis.
Does anybody have any questions? Mayor, I'm asking. Also.
Yes, I'm going to ask right now. I want to go to Mr. Church first because he did have questions. Larry, I hope you don't mind. I asked you to wait. So go ahead, sir. You're first.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. I thought we were at the end based on the worksheet we got here. So on the maternity management program, what does it manage? Does it manage the bills, the cost, the coding? Is it counseling to the family of how to manage the bills, how to pay the bills? What's the purpose of that? And then to go along with that, maybe you can explain the pre-admission, post-discharge counseling. Is that, hey, this is what's going to happen, the same thing that the nurse would tell you as you go in for those people who have never had it done before, and then on the way out, you get to tell somebody how your situation went and the city gets charged for that? Maybe you could explain those two to me,
Sure.
to us. Thank you.
Sure. So the maternity management program is direct engagement with the member that is, pregnant or just had a baby, that kind of thing. So they have nurse case managers that will reach out when we start seeing claims come through that are related to a pregnancy. They will check in with them to make sure that they're not having any issues. They will monitor things to make sure that they're scheduling appointments at the right cadence for, throughout the maternity care. And then they also follow up with them afterwards just to make sure that they're, handling, having a new baby at home and things like that without any issues. Because typically they're not seeing the doctor until about 6 weeks after having a baby. So it's really just meant to make sure that the member is in a good spot and, staying on top of the care that they're supposed to be getting.
This is Councilman Keller with a question.
Keller, go ahead, please.
So, is the management basically like a patient advocate and works just third party, or do they have HIPAA signed and so they can actually communicate with the doctors and the nurses and PAs and everything to be integrated into the care?
So the maternity management team is part of Meritain. So they are part of the health plan specifically. So they work for Meritain. They I'm not aware of them reaching out and talking to providers and things like that, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't happen if someone needed that level of help.
I'm just kind of curious because sometimes between doctor's offices and going home, things are construed. No, construed is the wrong word. Prego brain is real. My wife had it multiple times. So like the details are forgotten, overlooked, messages are not made, even with the doctor's office not fully explaining things. So I'm just kind of curious how they would handle that kind of stuff, or if it's patient driven, meaning the patient is the one that has to really pay attention and ask questions.
So
Very
oh, I'm sorry.
I would say very good that you mentioned that, Anton, that they take the initiative.
In there.
So my knowledge of the program is once they reach out, if the person wants to engage and be part of the program, then they will have a way to contact this individual that's going to be helping them with the maternity management. And so if they did go to doctor's appointments and were unsure about what just occurred, they would have a resource that they could reach out for help because they were engaged in the program. Outside of that, if they choose not to participate, but a member decided later that they kind of needed that help, then we could always help them get lined up with that person, with that program, and re-engage.
Okay. And this also is including postpartum
Yes,
coverage.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So a lot of this will actually come down to us educating the employees of being proactive in utilizing the maternity management program.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's already something that's currently in the benefits, but right now the city is paying a flat fee of 80 cents per employee per month. So for every single employee, you're paying that 80 cents. And there is a case rate option where you're only paying $365 when someone actually engages in it. So you don't have the hard fixed costs every month.
The mayor would like to ask a question. Given the past 2 to 3 years, how many pregnancies have we had in the city? Employee pool.
I do
we
not.
Don't have that data.
Yeah, I do not see that exact. I don't see any specifics on actual pregnancies related that have been charged to the plan, but 14% of your population is in the 19 to 44 age range, which would be a target for maternity claims.
Okay. 14%. I'm just trying to say here we put either $365 per person, or we not per person, but the individual, or we have 80 cents per person per month. Which is that? What does that cost us per annual to do the 80 cents per employee per month? What is that costing us again, please?
1 second, let me look at.
I don't have a large screen here, so I'm trying to figure it out.
No, it's okay. And I'm just opening a different screen that has your the number of enrolled people on it. Let me.
Because I know what you're showing in red, you have a recommendation for a reason. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, do you have the document handy that shows their average employee count is right now?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking.
Tiffany, maybe while Angela is looking for the employee count, you could address number 9, the pre-admissions and post-charge counseling. If we choose not to adopt that, what would the city save from that?
So right now, that's not included in the program, and there just would not be any additional pre-admission or post-discharge outside of what someone would get through wherever the doctor or the facility where they're getting care.
So the cost would be 0 currently, and if we choose to adopt, it would be 130 per hour.
Yes, if someone's utilizing the program.
And what exactly does that program do?
So there are a lot of things that could go into that, just depending on how someone responds when they're reached out. But whenever there's a pre-authorization for any type of inpatient procedure, or they see that someone has been hospitalized and they're about to be discharged, they would reach out either before the admission or after the discharge, just depending on the scenario, and talk to them, make sure they fully understand, what they're supposed to be doing as they go into the hospital, as they get their procedure done, make sure that they are answering questions, but they're reaching out to them as opposed to the member needing to contact them for that help. And same thing on the post discharge. Before someone leaves, they're going to be talking to them about, what kind of environment are they being discharged to? Do they have the means to, take care of themselves? Do they have, help lined up? Are they going to be able to get their prescriptions and things like that? So, and really focused on trying to eliminate people being released where they might have a readmittance, which is usually because of infections and things like that. So they're just keeping closer tabs on someone that's been discharged after something has been, a procedure's been completed.
Councilman Keller with another question, Mayor.
Yes, please.
So pertaining to this, where is the accountability for this? For instance, if we have a worker get called and talks to the person for 1 minute, is there a minimum amount of time that we need to actually have the worker or the employee or the benefactor of the insurance to talk to this person to be charged the 130? And then accountability for making sure that the quality is there? Are there stop procedures or accountability measures?
Angela, do you recall seeing a time minimum from
I do
Maritime?
not offhand. I can look in the presentation right now and see if it says that.
Okay.
And I just messaged you the count of employees and then employee family coverage.
Okay, thank you. So I would say while Angela's looking to see if that's specified on other programs where there's an hourly rate and things of that nature, it's usually because someone has said they've engaged and want to participate in the program, that they want that pre-admission help. It's not just them calling saying, hey, we noticed that you are going to the hospital, have a pre-authorization on file. Do you need any assistance, that kind of thing? And if they just say no, that they're good, then there should be no charge for the program at all.
Okay.
And
then,
but
go right ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, but Angela's going to look and see if they had any notes specifically in there about criteria. But typically we could get reporting on this, so we'd be able to tell how much the health plan has been billed for these hourly rates and kind of what transpired.
Okay. And then as well as time on the phone versus time documentation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we'd be able to kind of differentiate what exactly they're charging for and what counts towards that out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Because being a physician myself, I know that sometimes I can be really fast with documentation. Me being strictly commission based, whereas if I was hourly, I could do whatever I want. But I don't do that because number one, I'm basically self-employed and I am commission based. So
Sure.
I like to see accountability for what we are charged. I personally, I'm in favor of something like this to help our employees and the benefactors of this insurance policy, but I don't want to get strung up with high fees and no accountability going back towards these programs.
Sure.
Tiffany, you have the presentation open, right?
Yes.
Slide 28 gives us the details of this plan.
Thank you. I will. Let me see if I can figure out how to. Got things spanning multiple screens here. So, all right, here is the description of that program. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay. So, timely education for members admitted for inpatient procedures, pre-admission and post-discharge counseling from the same case manager. When combined with utilization management, so if someone has an ongoing complex condition that's targeted for utilization management and case management, those programs expand the reach of medical management and provide further opportunities for cost savings. So they're going to be looking for ways to help the member have some lower costs for themselves as well as for the plan. The case managers will initially make up to 2 call attempts to reach the member, provide education and proper preparation for the hospital admission and recovery process, including how to prevent infections, review their history, health history, including medications, assess their needs for additional educational materials related to diagnosis or treatment. They also will help refer members to community agencies the employee assistance program, if services, if applicable. Postage charge includes making up to 2 call attempts within 5 business days to reach the member, check on their health status and assess the pain or discomfort level, review discharge medications, post-discharge medications, review signs and symptoms of infection or adverse effects of the procedure, and discuss when to notify the physician or seek medical attention, determine if follow-up appointments or any other services, lab work, radiology, or other further testing are scheduled, and then more referral to member community agencies if needed. And it also includes some enhanced opioid support in case people are prescribed opioids for pain management.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Either Angela or Tiffany, can we go to what you called option, was it 12B?
Yes.
What that's is that one of your recommendations there? I can't see it, so it's, you have to bring it back up for me.
The
Yes.
4th tier, 12B is the 4th tier. Yes, that is one of our
Tier.
recommendations.
Is that one of your recommendations?
Yeah, that's 12B is the 4th tier without any increases to employee
Right.
deductions. And then the C and D and E is the same 4th tier, but with a 9%, the 20%. And Tricia wanted to put a 25% on there as well.
Does 12B give our employees what they need? That's my number one question. Our employees and their families, are they well covered under 12B?
Yes, they are well covered under Plan 12B. And the difference would be that people currently, they're either enrolled as employee or there's full family. So it's creating 2 other tiers for employee spouse and employee
that we
children.
don't currently have. That's correct.
Correct. Correct.
I understand it very well. I'm gravitating towards that. I'm trying to ask the council to take a good look at why you make the recommendations that you did. Okay. There's got to be, in my opinion, to my council mates, I've been sitting here doing this for, I guess about 11 years altogether, 12 years, whatever it is. And there never seems to be a good way to get the information across to us. And we're always like struggling to do it under a moment's notice. There has to be a better way. But see, the difference is that we have people that sit with you guys months ago when you came up with this. And then you're at the mercy of the different providers that would even would laser us in or do any of this stuff too. So that's why it's always a last minute thing. So I hope everyone understands that. So there's got to be a better way. One day we're going to find it. I don't know how it's going to be, but I'm just trying to get folks to try to center on what would give our employees what they need, their families what they need, and at the lowest cost to the city. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions, Larry?
Sorry, I hate to circle back around to this, but the whole person solution versus the new whole person plus.
Yes.
You're recommending that we adopt the new whole person plus plan. Does the whole person solution plan no longer exist? Or is it still there? And what's the difference between the two if you're recommending an adoption of that?
So the Livongo program, the Whole Person Plus, it's kind of a new name, and they're lowering the rate to that $80 per participant per month, regardless of the anchoring condition. Previously, the whole person that you have today is billed based on the anchor condition. So diabetes is $120, pre-diabetes is $95, and cardiovascular conditions are $70. So by going to the Whole Person Plus, it puts them all together. It doesn't matter what the anchoring condition is, it would change it to that $80. Groups are, from Maritime's perspective, they're automatically moving groups upon renewal unless we tell them that you want to make changes or discontinue the program.
Okay,
So
thank you.
they're no longer offering it the way you have it today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, you want to help us through how we're going to choose this now? Not what we're going to choose, but how to orchestrate this from this point on?
Yeah, Tiffany and Angela, do you guys need to remain on the line or can we get back to you tomorrow with the answer? Do you want to stay on the line when we go through voting?
Angela, do you have a preference?
The mayor has a preference, if you don't mind, if you stayed on, because we still may have a question as we go through this. You may see that we're not quite certain of what we're doing here, because this is getting late in the hour here.
Yes, I can definitely stay on. And Emily, as decisions are made, Angela can update this so that she can send it for signature first thing tomorrow morning. And then we're here for questions. And I did want to circle back to the one question about the maternity management at the 80 cents per employee per month, regardless. Based currently, you have 46 employees on the plan. That would cost about $441.60 for the year, as opposed to the $365 if someone actually utilizes the program. So if 2 people utilized it, you'd end up paying more. But if 1 person or no one used it, then you would be saving on your fixed costs.
Thank you.
But Livongo is included in the combined cost summary, or is it separate? I'm asking you, ladies.
Oh, the current Livongo program?
Correct.
It's billed as claims fees. So there's no cost directly to City of North Pole for offering that program. But if someone engages in it, then it comes through as a claims cost.
Okay. So council, here's my suggestion with how we go through this process. I'm going to change screens first. Close. Okay. So if the first decision is, are we going to carry weight loss coverage or not?
That's our first decision.
Do you, Angela and Tiffany, do you think that would be the first decision, is are we going to carry weight management or are we not?
Yes.
May I ask a question? This is Councilman Keller.
Yes.
So the definition of weight management is the inclusion of weight loss drugs, not necessarily nutrition or exercise counseling.
No. So there is a weight management program that's part of Livongo that would be focused on kind of diet, exercise, and trying to create healthy habits. This would be specific coverage for pharmaceuticals related that are only prescribed for weight loss, not due to some other underlying condition.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, may I ask one more question, Councilman Turch?
Go ahead, Larry.
Under the weight loss drugs, so if you had diabetes and were required, it would be covered under that, but not just strictly for weight loss. Is that correct? Under the current plan? Okay.
Yes, if there are drugs that have been associated with weight loss from a prescription standpoint, but they are only covered by the plan if you have that type 2 diabetes diagnosis.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure, because this is my first, is that like, should we make a motion that we're going to turn down, or somebody make a motion so we can go through this just piece by piece?
Okay.
Oh, we can make a motion to accept alternative 1.
State what that alternative is, please.
So we'll continue with health insurance. We will not pick up the weight loss, the weight
loss drugs.
The weight loss drugs.
Yep.
And that was Anton. We'll just go through this document one by one. So we'll do the first tier, the second tier. Okay. So, Anton motioned to stick with alternative 1 and just renew the policy that we have, not picking up weight loss drugs. Is there a second?
I would like to second that.
Seconded by Turch. Okay, and let's call the roll on the first decision. And Ms. Clack? Are you still on? Okay. Mr. Church?
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
and Mayor Church. Excuse me,
Yeah,
Mayor
Mayor
Welch.
Mayor Church, you've been promoted. That's okay. I was another mayor last week. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so that's alternate one. Okay, so now we're gonna, on the pre-admission, post-discharge counseling at an hourly rate. Would we like to continue? Would we like to go forward with that, or would we not like to have that?
All dependent on.
Somebody saying something?
Sorry, we're kind of having a discussion over here.
Yeah, have your discussion, please.
Yeah.
I do have Trisha still. She's on the phone. If there's anybody, if you have questions, I can ask through her. Does anybody have any questions that you'd like me to ask Trisha?
Feel like, in our local, in our local community, the hospitals, the surgery centers, the doctors do such a good job of taking care of the patients in our community that the $130 an hour per case seems like a lot, except for those people who truly need the additional reminders and things like that would really help them. But I've had lots of surgeries in this town. So have my kids, my wife, and the nurses and doctors always call to check in, see how things are going. If there's something that's brought up that needs attention, they're usually pretty good about taking care of it, even at the hospital. As much of a difficulty as sometimes that can be, those people there are still willing to help. So
It is only,
if it's no cost,
yeah, I want to ask Angela and Tiffany that there's no additional cost if it's not utilized. It's only if they choose to use it.
Correct.
What did she say?
correct.
Right.
Okay.
So it's kind of a moot point.
Okay, got it.
Do I have a motion,
I
Council?
move to add the second decision, the addition of program, which would include the pre-admission and post-discharge counseling at a rate of $130 an hour if utilized by the insured.
If utilized, right?
Yeah. if
Got it.
utilized.
Okay.
Only if you want.
Did you second that, Skips?
Yes, I
Skips,
did.
thank you.
And can I just state one other point? And it would have to be initiated by the insured, or is it initiated by you, Meritain?
Meritain would be reaching out when they see someone coming through with a pre-authorization for an inpatient procedure or someone getting ready to be discharged. So they would do the outreach.
The cost for the outreach is zero up until the patient decides to take that. Is that correct?
That is my understanding. And we can verify, if that's the contingent of your decision, we can verify that with Meritain tomorrow.
That would be a contingent, because if you reach out and they don't want it and we get billed $130 an hour, that seems like a huge waste of money for something that we already have. 2 phone calls, you're done. And you've made $260. We've been here for 2 hours already, and you could have made 2 phone calls in 5 minutes. Not to say you're doing that, but can we clarify that, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, assuming that I'm going to get clarification that I can send out to you guys in the morning about the charge and amount of time. Would you like to approve the addition of the $130 per hour if utilized? And I have Church and Skips that said yes, so I guess I'm calling the roll. Mr. Keller.
Yep. Yes.
Ms. Clack, you're off the line. Mr. Church?
Well, no, I was having a discussion with that as far as getting notified. You know, if the hospital sends out to the insurance saying, hey, he's about to get discharged, now the insurance calls me and says, hey, you're about to get discharged. You had any questions? Now it's at the $130.
Correct. And that's what we're waiting on clarification.
Yeah, we
for
need to
tomorrow.
see
But
if
yeah,
who initiates.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one employee that has had a history with this program that was very helpful to them. She's not in attendance at the meeting tonight. Yeah, I'll get clarification and I'll send that out to you in the morning. Going with, it's not just $130 charge blanket. I have a first from Church and a second from Skips. And then Mr. Keller said, Mr.
Yes.
Keller said, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Welch.
No.
Okay, that moves us on to the third decision, which will be the maternity case management rate of $360 charged if utilized by insured. Currently, we pay 80 cents per employee per month.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Go ahead, please.
For the third decision, again, going back to who initiates this. Is this initiated by you, the insured, reaching out to new mom, new dad? And does that cost start then regardless?
Yes, so Emily, I do want to add what's not represented on here is that there is the maternity case management rate that you're currently paying, the 80 cents per employee per month. And then there's an hourly rate of $130 that is billed when someone is engaged.
Could you repeat that? I missed.
Yeah. This was in the presentation that was gone over. So I just pulled that up just to see if there were any other metrics in there. So right now you pay the flat per employee per month of 80 cents per employee per month, which is going to be a little over $400 a year. But then when someone does use the program, you guys are paying an $130 per hour for the time that these case managers are helping that patient. So the hourly and case rates are both billed as claims and are covered under your stop loss. And they say the average time spent on these cases is about 10 hours, which is why the $365 case rate is recommended over the other.
It's important.
And it's in the outreach is done by someone when they see the maternity claims start coming through. But if someone, so they're typically, the outreach is done, they never respond, there's no charge. If they do respond, but they decline the program, but later want to re-engage, then they would have to reach out to Meritain to re-engage that.
Thank you for that clarification, Tiffany.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think that swayed a lot of votes. I move to go ahead and change that for case rate.
There a second?
I will second that to the case rate billing for the third decision, cost structure change of the maternity management case rate of 360 per insured. Sorry, 365.
Okay.
Thank you.
So decision 3, we're going to change the case rate. We're going to select the option of 365 per person. Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Keller, and Mayor Welch.
Yes.
And then that brings us to the fourth decision, which I guess it's going to be a 2-part question. I don't really, do we want to go to a 4-tier structure from a 2-tier structure?
I think the 4-tier makes sense with the different demographics that we have within the employee pool to split it up.
Let's just make that we're going to go.
Yep. So A is off the table, which is stay where we are. So my thought is 12, what was it? 12?
12B.
Yeah, 12
12B is a
12.
4, 12C is a 9% increase with the 4, 12D is a 4-tier with a 20% increase, and 12E is a 25% increase on a 4-tier.
Yes.
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion, please, to adopt? Item 12D, the 20% increase with the 4-tier structure.
Okay, Larry made a first on 4D.
And the 20% is just keeping up with inflation of the increasing cost of medical across the board, to protect the city and to keep up so that we don't have big jumps for years to come. And maybe if we maintain this on a year-to-year basis, we might be able to meet that 9 or no change. I wish Trish was here tonight so that we could ask her about what is in the medical fund and how much we have in there to actually protect the city since we are self-insured.
She kind of gave a short report on it.
Right.
The last, I don't want to quote the dollar amount, but it was close to $500,000. And she just says we're self-insured. You get to make the decisions. The whole world's getting more expensive, so don't be shocked when health insurance is too.
And I think really for the plan that the city receives, it's very cost effective compared to other things around I mean, I know the hospital is 400 and something paycheck or 300 something a paycheck. The schools are constantly increasing and very expensive, especially for a family rate. And I think really what we pay here at the city is fairly affordable. I hate to raise rates. It's not really my thing. But if we don't do something to protect the future of that fund, we'll be out of money, and then it will really be a shocking bill for everybody to take. The only benefit is that going to the 4-tier structure allows spouses and singles with children to have a little bit more affordable health care.
So I have a first at the 12D 20% increase.
I second the 12 Delta.
Skips, seconded by
Skips.
Skips. And okay, so Mr. Church, we'll do roll call. Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mayor Welch.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies, did you get the answers tonight that you might need?
I think we still need to, I still need a answer on the whole person plus.
Full person
So
plus.
the Livongo, so to
Livongo,
renew on the new program.
Whole person is.
Which wasn't part of our.
Plus, or it's a flat $80 versus.
So
different
we're
charges
back
for
to
different conditions.
7. Back your sure number 7 on this.
Number 7,
on the-
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So if whole person solution is discontinuing and whole person plus is our only option, we still have to adopt that. If we choose to stay with whole person solution as it is now, will we automatically be transferred then into new whole person plus when that shuts down?
Yes, so at the renewal, then the current one you're in is no longer there, so they will automatically roll you into the new program. Unless we tell them you want to not have Livongo.
Something to that, Tiffany. Sorry, just for more clarity. They can keep the whole person solution the way it is today. They can. However, if you don't say, this is what I want to keep, they will automatically roll you into plus. So you can keep whole person solution the way that you have it today.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
Angela, that's not how I was seeing it worded on what
Oh,
was
sorry.
in
Yeah,
the slide, but
they are automatically, if nobody does anything, they will automatically change it to plus. They're kind of, it's enhancing the program is what it's doing.
Keep it.
But some groups may say, oh, we don't want to do that. We want to leave it as is. You can still leave it as is.
Okay, excellent. Can I move to keep whole person solution as is through our current plan?
Second, Skips.
Okay, so 7, we will continue to use whole person solution, firsted by Larry or Mr. Church, seconded by Mr. Skips. Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, and Mayor Welch.
Yes.
All right. All right. Where are we at now, Angela and Tiffany? Did we get all your answers?
yes.
Yes.
I will wait for your email in the morning. Both of you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for all the time you gave us tonight.
You guys are welcome. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Angela.
Bye.
What's next, Madam Clerk?
Next, we are at my agenda.
Want to ask for a 5-minute pause when I'm asking someone to suspend the rules.
You guys want to do a 5-minute pause? And then we'll come back with
Finishing up.
I'm getting nobody that wants a 5-minute pause. Nobody wants to take a pause.
I've been going for 14 plus hours.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Okay, so the next on the agenda is the Fairbanks North Star Borough and emergency management. That didn't get consent agenda? Oh, you're still there. Chief Heineken's here.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, presented to you tonight is a draft agreement for our annual emergency medical service and ambulance contract with the Fairbanks North Star Borough to provide ambulance ambulance service outside of our city. We've had this contract for 40 plus years with the borough, and this year the proposed amount in the contract goes up to $811,841. From current year, it's $723,481. So a pretty significant increase again this year, and we've seen significant increases over the last 3 years. So the remaining wording of the contract is identical to the contract we're currently working under. And once the borough assembly approves their budget, the borough will provide us sometime in the beginning of June a digital final copy that will will compare, make sure it is the same as the draft that we're approving to sign today. And therefore, if you do vote to sign this, they'll send a digital copy to the mayor to be signed in the first couple of weeks of June. Our contract does expire June 30th this year, so it is time sensitive, is why we're bringing the draft copy to your attention today. So I can take any questions if you have them.
Councilman Keller through the chair.
Go ahead.
I just want to say kudos to all of you over there at the firehouse, because I think this is a direct correlation with how well our station is doing. Like, there is no way that the borough would continue to increase this if we were doing a not so well job.
Yeah.
So this is great.
I agree, and we've used the wording for several years that, the borough they provide EMS via contract everywhere in the borough. They don't provide EMS themselves. And there's several contractors, and we are the gold standard for contractors, the way we look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Mayor, did you have any other questions for Chief Heineken?
I have no further questions. No further questions from the mayor.
Thank you.
Move to approve the Fairbanks North Star Borough and City of North Pole Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance Contract.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Okay, on that motion, Mr. Skips,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Welch.
Yes.
And that brings us to the next item on the agenda is Stantec Professional Services Agreement, support to Three Bears.
Good evening, everyone. The memo before you talks to why this is important. Basically, this involves Stantec Consulting supporting Three Bears utility integration. Three Bears is a very complicated project. It's got several inputs into both the city infrastructure and also into the local environment. We'd like to make sure all of that is done correctly. The City of North Pole Utilities Department will certainly be there and be monitoring, but Stantec provides a significant level of expertise to oversee this integration. And this continues the effort that Stantec has done with planning and design of that actual integration. This cost is about $19,000, but it will not be, it'll be charged to Three Bears via the city. It's not a direct cost to the city, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about this.
Any questions? I have none. Council,
Mayor, did you say you had a question?
I have no questions. I say I have no questions.
Okay.
And I'm asking this council.
So I do have a question
Go ahead.
pertaining to this as to why an official bid request did not go out with this big of a project. Yes, we do stuff with Stantec. Do they have anything that is proprietary to what they install?
So that's a two-part question.
Yeah, it is a
right?
two-part.
Okay.
Why wasn't there an official bid that got like a request for bids? And then actually the first one is, does Stantec have anything that they install that is proprietary to Stantec?
So I keep getting the different projects mixed up.
Okay. So this is Three Bears.
So the Stantec, I'd have to go back and determine if we bid this out. Stantec has been chosen for certain projects in the city because of their familiarity with the infrastructure system. Stantec does not have any proprietary hold on any of the certainly any of the design of the systems within here. As you may remember, we're doing a utility standards update, which will set the standards for example, if you want to build new housing development in the city and you have to put in either a lift station or a pump house, those standards will be there and they'll be the city standards. They won't be Stantec proprietary information. And there's a lot of workarounds that they've already done for the city that they're going to codify in there, but there's nothing that's copyrighted. There's nothing that they have any they have any direct influence over keeping other folks from using that same technology. As far as whether or not, I have to go back and because off the top of my head, I'm not remembering how we actually did Stantec for this project. This 19,000, and it's come up a couple times. For the city, if it's over $49,000 and if it's over $50,000, we're required to go out and bid. If it's under $50,000, the guidance to the city via code is to get 3 bids for a specific project. So to go out and look at this and go out to bid for this, again, it sort of throws it off the track of Stantec has done the planning, but now we want Stantec to look at the stuff that they plan for. If we have another company that comes in and does it, it probably would be more cost than this to do it. And then companies like Respect can potentially do this, but we don't have really any other vendors in the interior beside Respect and Stantec that would do this type of work. If you remember, for the city water main, we had Respect and Stantec were the only 2 bidders on that project. We ended up picking Respect for that project. For Three Bears, Stantec was chosen. And like I said, I owe you an answer on how that occurred because stuff has occurred beforehand for this. up until this point. But we do try to make an effort to make sure that if it needs to be bid out, we certainly do that. But as you saw with the skid steer, we do have a process for that, but just not all projects have to go out to everyone just based on city code and requirements. And if we do every single thing out to folks, then that delays the procurement process for stuff. So even this, I sort of shoved this in because this was a need that's immediate because they're probably going to start pouring concrete. They're probably going to start integrating utilities in the next month or so. So we're trying to get this before the council for discussion.
Okay. All right. Because this has been in the works for a year or two.
Certainly, yes. It has
So
been.
and this is not the first rodeo that Three Bears has. So as far as their timeline, I think we're a little behind the eight ball, and kind of covering this up is not covering it up, but just okay, we got to do what we need to do to get it done. I don't like being behind the eight ball when there's a big project like this. So we need to
Clerk,
do what we
Mr.
need to get done.
Mayor, point of information.
I just don't like being strong-handed with Stantec
Madam
or
Clerk,
any company, really. And if they don't have any proprietary stuff that's going in the ground,
point of
we
information.
can go for the cheapest bidder for the quality, right?
Madam
So
Clerk, you hear the mayor?
that's me.
Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, I'm saying, Madam Clerk, point of information.
Go ahead, Larry.
Can
Was
you hear?
this
Can you hear me?
planning that didn't happen the city's result, or Three Bears changing their design in some way that we weren't aware of, adding something? And I know as they go through a big project, they talk to community members and they're like, hey, the community is in need for this because of this reason. I know the sewage dump, that totally makes sense, since 3 other sewage dumps in our town have kind of shut down over this. But whose planning was?
The planning shortfall was certainly on my side and on the city's side. It was not Three Bears, but I'll tell you that Three Bears, if we did not inspect that location, they would have had concrete poured as soon as physically possible. But there would have been no guarantee that they conform to city requirements on stuff because, again, throughout Alaska, you have a whole variety of different construction standards. So the oversight on not having someone aside from the city that's looking at the utilities integration is certainly on the city. At the same time, on the construction side, Three Bears is using a very novel construction building approach. They're using construction techniques that have never been used before in Alaska, not especially on the utility side, but on the building side. Again, with Arctic Light and some of the building stuff. It's great that they're doing that, but we've had to go through and make sure that the structure is going to be sound, that they've done the correct soil testing, everything else. So that's on the construction side. On the utility side, yeah, the RV dump was something that we did not know about. And so that's one thing. It may have been on Three Bears radar scope, but we did not see that. The plan for flooding into the local neighborhoods and how to mitigate that. Their current plans have that there's going to be a berm potentially around the site, but it's really not fleshed out. So having a look at that and making sure that there's not second and third order effects of this building, that's what we're trying to get this honed attention to what goes on. But as far as utilities, that is on me, that this utilities scrutiny, it was a result of a project meeting between myself and Paul, and we looked at, well, where is Three Bears at and who's looking at when they link into the city water system, and we just never want to put that at risk. So that's what that is doing. So it really wasn't Three Bears, but I'll tell you, Three Bears has a variety of building techniques suited to different areas, and they've had to adapt themselves to city code, and that's kind of what again what they've struggled with, but we're getting through it.
Can I add to that? So if we choose not to accept this master service contract for this, what happens from there?
Well, what we're going to have to rely on is the city inspectors to do it. We're going to have Paul Trissel, who, aside from his day job, will have to go to the site to look at the hookups to make sure that that's all right. And there's some areas that he's not comfortable looking at. So we potentially would engage Stantec as just on a per hour basis to provide this expertise and say, hey, this is how they're going to hook up this particular widget to this particular thing. This is how they're going to prevent backflow into the city water system. These are all the things that they're going to do. And are we putting ourselves at risk? So what this does is, like many other things in the city, it takes a role and function that we're not totally prepared to do, and it shifts that over to another professional organization we've dealt with before. And again, the fact that this is a pass-through expense, it makes sense for the city. If our folks are out doing it, which, like I said, it puts us more at risk if our folks do this work. Again, financially, it's certainly a fairly good deal that the builder has to pay this. And like I said, given the size of the project, this is not a significant expense given what we're getting for the money.
Go ahead, Mr. Skips.
Yeah, I think just looking at this whole thing and then now looking at the purchase limits in the code, I think a lot of it is just, yeah, the cost isn't that much, but you kind of knew there was going to be cost later. I mean, to me, I would have liked to have this when you first knew about it versus last minute is what I'm getting at. Because it's kind of seeming like, and it's happened, disregard what I just said.
Okay.
It seemed like other things have been coming last minute type of thing saying, hey, we need to get this passed now. I mean, the money thing isn't that much. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at it. Yeah, 50,000, that's when you get your 3. But you, as far as a supervisor, you can improve up to 12. And then the mayor can go up to 24. But then if you knew it was going to be more than your limit,
Hi, Mayor.
you could have kind of did memo saying, hey, it's going to cost this much. And all you need to do is just say it's going to cost this much, you get the approval of us, and it's all good.
Are you on mute?
And that's what we're doing right now. Again, there's been
I know,
discussion,
but it's like the last minute, it's like 4th down and 2 minutes left, and we got to get this done
Mayor.
because they're going to be doing concrete and.
Yeah, this certainly should have been planned out.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean,
A year or more ago.
it is what it is.
Right.
I mean, it's done and we do need it done, so. And yeah, if they're the ones that originally did it and they know all the stuff about it, then yeah, we should be good with it.
Can we put on hold for 1 second? The mayor's trying to chime in with comments in relation to this.
I'm trying to give a point of information.
Go ahead.
The point of information is that Stantec has been extremely responsible and responsive to the needs of the city of North Pole as long as I have lived here as an elected official, which goes back to 2005-06 era. But more importantly, just 3 years ago, under Danny's predecessor, when we needed something, they sent people to us at no cost to us from their international office to be able to advise us on what to do in the whole Brookside Park arena. So Three Bears is in the Brookside Park arena. So it's a matter of what had happened with Three Bears. They actually, so that you'll know this, that's why this is called a point of information. They aren't perfect. They had a chief finance officer who retired in December, and he handed it off to somebody. And we were so good at doing things as a community for them that they just thought they could pop up here and say, well, we're ready to go to the borough, to the planning department. And they didn't know what the next step was. That's the way I could count it best, is that now they have to hurry up and get moving along because they lost valuable time by not being properly taken care of in October by somebody that was supposed to be moving gravel for them so they could be where they need to be this time of year. So they're playing catch up really hard. It's not the city's fault. It's not anyone's particular fault. It's just the way it is. The circumstances, sometimes this happens in construction, especially the largest Three Bears that's ever been constructed in the history of that company. Thank you.
Okay, with that, thank you, Mayor. I would like to move to approve the Stantec Professional Services Agreement and support to Three Bears Project as a bill back.
I'll second.
On the motion, to approve, Stantec Professional Services Agreement support to Three Bears. Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Skips,
Yes.
and Mayor Welch.
Yes.
I don't know why the audio isn't working. Thank you, Mayor Welch. I'm just going to keep you on the phone. I don't know why your audio isn't working. Okay, so that was approved. That brings us to council
Thank you,
member
Dan.
comments.
Yes, thank you, Danny.
Mr. Skips, let's start with you.
Yes, really short. North Pole High School, their soccer team made state. Their games start Thursday, so it's this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They have 3 games. Depending on how they do on the first one, obviously is for the advance for the next 2. But the first game is gonna be against Ketchikan, and it's at Wasilla High School at 1700, 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 23rd. And with that, North Pole Track and Field, they had 12 people qualify for state. And that starts Friday and Saturday at Diamond High School. So North Pole starting to get its name in the state contentions here over the past couple of years. So it's really good. We just hope they keep it up. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Skips. Mr. Williams?
You know, I'm not going to say too many things, except, you know, sometimes when we're doing things, you think you're going down the right path and you might miss one little item in something and it throws a hiccup in it. So you got to take it, roll with it and make it work. Simple as that on whatever we do. But I got a couple of sayings for us. You know, I always got one. It says, you know, we've been given the greatest power in the world, the power to choose. Do we do it right or do we do it wrong? So it's what we got to do. Got another one for everybody. It says, if we succeed without sacrifice, it's because someone sacrificed for us. Just one more. Let me see. If I had 2 wishes, I know what they would be. I wish for roots to cling to. Everybody know what roots do, right? They go out among everything and they hit every little entity. You may not think so, but it does. And it says the wings to set me free. Wings means you can go anywhere you want and make it work. That's what we got to do as a team, guys. Especially when you got big projects and things, we got to make it work for the people out there. And that's about all I got to say. Of course, you know, I got some more good ones next time too. And I think I'm going to hit this on them individuals down there at Fairbanks. I'm going to make sure they know some of these too.
I would encourage all council members to watch the audio. Mr. Williams handled pressure under stress quite well. And that brings us to Mr. Church.
I'm sorry to the young lady who was here from the high school. I have forgotten your name, but thank you for coming down and providing these ornaments. And thank you for doing that service. I think it's super exceptional to see young people, anybody who's younger than me, move forward, see a goal and do everything they can to attain it. And the city is behind you in that. And thank you for promoting our city by doing that. It's excellent. Thank you, Scott, for coming out and talking about Explore Fairbanks and all the good things that are happening in Fairbanks. And congratulations to all the graduates of all of the local high schools and colleges. It's a wonderful time of year for us. As always, please remember to look out for motorcycles. They're out there, people are out on bicycles, walking. There's a lot more foot traffic. Pay attention to your surroundings when you're backing up. And with that, I'll pass it on to Mr. Keller.
I will take that baton and go. Yeah, beautiful weather out there. The one thought that I had today, I got into a good discussion, I'll call it, with my wife today because she wanted to take the four-wheeler on the ride or on the road. And I hadn't gotten to getting the insurance and getting it registered. I was like, you can't do that. She goes, why not? She's one that she has to understand the why behind the rules. And I guess my explanation has not been that great, except today was. So I spent 2 hours getting insurance and getting it registered, and coming back and zip tying it to the four-wheeler. So one thing that I want to do is make sure that somehow we communicate better with the city. I'm not sure what the avenue of communication, because it's like we pass these things, we pass ordinances, and then we rely on the police officers to do all the footwork of pull them all over, educate them. So somehow we need to get an official something. So that's something that, and maybe there is something that's already in place. But that's something that I know I need to kind of start looking into. But with that, Memorial Day is coming up. Just please be safe on the roads. Yeah, be safe on the roads, be safe at home. But enjoy the weather. I'm grateful for all those city employees. For as small of a city, once again, I've said this many times, for as small as a city that we have tremendous power and tremendous opportunities for getting things done. So, and with that, yes.
Mayor Welch, I don't know if if your Zoom is working again or. Yeah, I'm gonna put
Hold
you
on 1 second, Mayor.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I would like to say something, and this is relationship to understand what a wonderful clerk you folks have, okay? She's trying to bring peace and order, and she's also trying to get you folks the cred that you deserve, the respect that you deserve. And I would like for her to send, if she hasn't already, to every one of you, the email that she sent to a member of the assembly. It's really one of those things that we didn't have that in some of the clerks when I came on board. It was a lot to be desired. They were very selfish. They look out for themselves. Here she is looking out for you guys. And I hope she's glowing over there, because she is. She is looking out for me too. And that means a lot to the mayor, believe it or not. But to go to that assembly, my wife, when she learned about this, the very next day, we're over the coffee cup this past Saturday, and the people who are the antagonists are sitting there trying to explain it away. You can't explain it away. There's no rhyme or reason why you would treat someone this way. And I said, do you not understand that divisiveness doesn't get anything built around here? I'm using a lot of Latin words like pontificate. The pontiff means to build a bridge. They're not building bridges. They're taking them down. And so I guess at some point I'm going to have to go before the assembly. And I had to do it twice before in my life and just explain to them, this is our chance to give a report. This is what's happening in our city. And it's not to be picked apart or be made you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. You know, how could somebody specifically ask a member of the council? Now, Mr. Church, would you have known what happened on the council before you became a council member?
Probably not, sir.
That's what I'm saying. Not putting you on the spot, but that's what they were doing. They're putting Benny on the spot. They're asking him, well, do you know whether or not your mayor did this, that, and the other? And do you know or did or not? Did it go before the council, or did he just do it by himself? Benny wouldn't have even known. But you know what? If you follow the bouncing ball, what's really going behind this, and y'all realize everything I'm saying, they can go back and listen to, and I want them to listen to it. They're in a little problem with the city of Fairbanks. City of Fairbanks said, You mistreated us. We don't need to be part of you anymore. And therefore, this is what they're trying to do. The city of Fairbanks says, we don't want to be part of economic development considerations. Well, that doesn't help us as a borough. It doesn't help us to be whole. And that's why I agreed with Mayor Ward back on September 5th. I'm one of those guys, God help me. I don't know why I remember everything, but I knew it was September 5th, right after Labor Day. It's really not hard to find that we signed an agreement. And the city of Fairbanks, it's not monkey see, monkey do. They don't have to do what we do, no more than we have to do what they do. But it's to our betterment if we could find a common ground. So some people on the assembly there need to understand that. What did they say about that? You're going to be surprised. They say you need more North Pole citizens from the city of North Pole on that assembly. That's what we need. That would change it quite a bit. So with that, I'll say, God bless you guys. Go out, have a sparkling good day tomorrow, and be proud of yourselves. We are doing the best we can. Thank you. Good night.
To adjourn. Second.
Moved to adjourned and seconded. We are out at 9:37, Mayor. You have a good evening.
All right. God bless you. Thank you.
Mhm. Oh, oops, hung up.
Trying to fry you, Benny?
Oh, man.
Don't be laughing, Benny.
You need to listen
Benny,
to it.
I think I'm going to.
I did the best I could without